The fall of the Eastern Roman Empire, or the Byzantine Empire, was one of the most significant events in world history, marking the end of the Roman state and a major turning point in the medieval world. This story centers on the final days of Constantinople, the empire's capital, and the dramatic culmination of centuries of decline. The fall of Constantinople in 1453 was a pivotal moment in history, marking the end of the Byzantine Empire, the final remnant of the ancient Roman world, and the dawn of a new era shaped by the rise of the Ottoman Empire. This dramatic event unfolded over several weeks, culminating in a tragic and fierce battle for control of the great city. To fully understand the magnitude of this event, one must first grasp the context in which the siege occurred. By the mid-15th century, the Byzantine Empire was a shadow of its former self. At its height, it had stretched across the Mediterranean, including parts of modern Italy, North Africa, the Balkans, and the Middle East. However, centuries of wars with Persians, Arabs, Crusaders, and most recently, the Ottomans, had decimated its territory. Constantinople, once the beating heart of a vast empire, was now an isolated city, surrounded by hostile Ottoman territory. The empire's weakened state stemmed from many causes: internal strife, economic exhaustion, and the relentless pressure of external enemies. The catastrophic Fourth Crusade in 1204, when Western European crusaders sacked Constantinople, had left the city in ruins and created a period of Latin occupation. Although the Byzantines eventually recaptured the city, they never recovered from the devastation. By the early 15th century, the empire was effectively reduced to Constantinople and its surrounding areas. The Ottomans, a rising Islamic power led by Sultan Mehmed II, had conquered much of southeastern Europe and Anatolia, encircling the Byzantine capital. Mehmed, an ambitious ruler, sought to cement his legacy by capturing the city that had defied Muslim armies for centuries. In 1451, at the age of 19, Mehmed II ascended to the Ottoman throne with one goal above all: the conquest of Constantinople. Mehmed had been deeply influenced by Islamic prophecy and personal ambition. He saw himself as the prophesied conqueror who would finally capture the Second Rome. Mehmed's preparation for the siege began in earnest in 1452. He constructed a massive fortress, Rumeli Hizara, on the Bosporus Strait north of Constantinople. This imposing structure, built with remarkable speed, effectively cut off the city from receiving any assistance by sea from the Black Sea. With Rumeli Hizara complete, Constantinople was now under virtual blockade. The Ottoman army assembled for the siege was enormous. Mehmed gathered between 80,000 and 100,000 troops, including elite janissaries, cavalry, and infantry. He also assembled a large fleet to attack from the sea, which would play a crucial role in the battle. In addition, Mehmed had commissioned construction of one of the largest cannons ever built, designed by the Hungarian engineer Orban. This immense bronze cannon could fire massive stone projectiles weighing up to 600 kilograms, designed to shatter the city's legendary Theodosian walls. Constantinople's last emperor, Constantine Palaiologos. On the Byzantine side, Emperor Constantine Palaiologos faced an impossible situation. He had ascended to the throne in 1449, but his realm was already in terminal decline. The empire's resources were almost non-existent, its treasury empty, and its army vastly outnumbered by the Ottoman forces. The Byzantines had no more than 7,000 soldiers, including a few thousand foreign mercenaries to defend the city. The Venetians and the Genoese had a vested interest in the city's survival due to their trade networks provided some assistance, but it was not enough to match Mehmed's overwhelming force. Constantine had hoped for help from Christian Europe, especially the Pope and the kingdoms of the West, but the response was minimal. The fractured state of European politics, along with the lingering resentment from the schism between the Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox churches, meant that little aid was forthcoming. Even the papacy, though nominally supportive, could not muster enough forces to mount a rescue. Despite these challenges, Constantine was determined to fight to the last. The beginning of the siege, April 1453. On April 6, 1453, Mehmed II's army encamped outside the city walls and began the siege. The city of Constantinople, surrounded by the mighty Theodosian walls, was a fortress in itself. These walls, constructed in the 5th century, had stood as one of the greatest defensive structures in the medieval world, repelling numerous invasions over the centuries. However, they were now facing a new kind of warfare, cannons and gunpowder. For several weeks, Mehmed's artillery relentlessly pounded the walls. The massive cannon designed by Orban could only be fired 7 times a day due to its immense size and the time needed to reload it, but each shot inflicted tremendous damage. The Byzantines, though outnumbered and outgunned, fought back with tenacity. They repaired the walls at night and launched sorties to damage the Ottoman siege works. At sea, the Byzantines had some early success. The Golden Horn, the harbor of Constantinople, was protected by a massive chain that prevented Ottoman ships from entering. However, Mehmed soon devised a plan to outmaneuver this obstacle. On April 22nd, he ordered his men to drag their ships overland on greased logs, bypassing the chain entirely and launching his fleet into the Golden Horn. This audacious maneuver gave the Ottomans control of the harbor and placed the city under siege from both land and sea. The final assault, May 1453. As the siege dragged on into late May, the situation inside Constantinople grew increasingly dire. Food supplies were running out, and the constant bombardment had weakened the walls. The morale of the defenders, though initially high, began to wane. Emperor Constantine, fully aware of the gravity of the situation, refused to surrender. According to chroniclers, Constantine made an impassioned speech to his soldiers, urging them to defend their city, their homes, and their faith. On the night of May 28th, the people of Constantinople held a final religious service in the Hagia Sophia, praying for divine intervention. The service was attended by the emperor and citizens, Orthodox and Catholic alike. It was a poignant moment as many knew that their fate was sealed. In the early hours of May 29th, Mehmed launched his final assault. Waves of Ottoman troops stormed the walls with elite janissaries at the forefront. The Byzantines fought valiantly, repelling the first wave, then the second. But a small mistake would change the course of history. A gate known as the Porta was left open by accident, and a group of Ottoman soldiers exploited this weakness, pouring into the city. Once inside, the Ottomans overwhelmed the defenders. Emperor Constantine is said to have cast aside his imperial regalia and fought alongside his soldiers in a last desperate charge. His exact fate remains a mystery, but he was almost certainly killed in the fighting, becoming the last Roman emperor. The aftermath, the fall of Constantinople. As the sun rose on May 29, 1453, the city of Constantinople was firmly in Ottoman hands. Mehmed II entered the city in triumph and rode to the Hagia Sophia, which he ordered to be converted into a mosque. The remaining citizens who had taken refuge there were either killed or enslaved. The fall of Constantinople marked the official end of the Byzantine Empire, an empire that had lasted for over 1,000 years. Mehmed II earned the title the Conqueror, and Constantinople, now Istanbul, became the new capital of the Ottoman Empire, transforming into a center of Islamic culture and trade. For the Christian world, the loss of Constantinople was a profound shock. It severed the last remaining link to the ancient Roman Empire, marking the end of the Middle Ages and the beginning of the Renaissance. The fall of the city also prompted European powers to seek new trade routes to the east, eventually leading to the age of exploration and the discovery of the Americas. The fall of the Eastern Roman Empire was not just the collapse of a city, but the end of an era. It signified the death of an ancient civilization and the rise of a new global power, forever changing the course of history. Don't forget to click subscribe if you want more weekly updates on precise history. Thank you.